Antonio Armstrong Jr. is speaking out for the first time since being convicted of killing his parents back in 2016. He's speaking exclusively to KPRC 2 News. We asked him the questions you want answers to. Joining us this morning as KPRC 2 investigates producer Jason Wynn. He was at that interview, there during that conversation. He's joining us now alongside digital content specialist Ninfa Saavedra. Thank you both so much for being here. I want to jump right into this. Did he admit to killing his parents? If not, who does he say did?
Well, that was the very first, I'd say second or third question that Rilwan asked. Because, when we first started the interview, we kind of wanted to feel out how AJ was, and what his state of mind was that day. Because you never know with these types of interviews how they can go. So we kind of eased into it and we asked him, why did you kill your parents? And Rilwan was very specific when he asked that question. AJ says he didn't do it. I mean, he's still holding true that he didn't do it. He went on to talk about a masked man that was in that home.
Man.
Yeah, that masked man that he had talked, that you hear about in that interview tape with the detectives. Mm-hmm. He talked about that masked man and how that masked man could be the person.
Mm. I know that was a big focus during this trial. Prosecutors even built that staircase to scale to show us how close this person apparently, got to his parents.
Yeah.
What was his reaction?
Well, AJ says that was a little blown out of proportion. And you'll hear that a couple of times tonight when we watch this whole thing. But according to him, you can just go down a couple of stairs and you can still see that doorway to his parents. And he was saying that, what Prosecutor John Jordan was saying, how you kind of have to go halfway down the stairs and you got to squat and you can kind of see them because there's like a little triangle there. And he's saying you can still see the door without going all the way down.
And this was the door to his parents' room?
Yeah, the door to his parents' room. So when that guy came out, according to him, he was saying, well, you could see the guy because you could see the door, but you can't really see, he can't really see him. Mm-hmm. And that's his excuse to the whole thing.
And I believe we have a soundbite from this portion of the interview. Take a listen.
It's just not accurate. You don't have to walk all the way down. From my third story, you probably could have walked down 2 or 3 steps and peeked your head and been able to see the door. It's not hard at all. But again, they have to make the narrative of, hey, no, you have to do this, and you got to he had to come all the way down. Because they wanted to make it seem like, hey, he had to walk all the way down and see this person, and that person saw him, so therefore he has to be lying. When that's not the case. You only have to walk a few steps down. So I didn't agree with the way they presented the stairs.
I didn't agree with the way they presented the stairs, is what AJ just said.
Yep. And I want to talk about this for a second here because we don't also talk about the stairs because we talk about the makeshift bedroom and how AJ chose not to go into that room that night when he went to go grab his sister. And he was so adamant on that 911 call. I got to go get my sister. I got to go get my sister. He goes gets his sister. He talks about why he chose not to go in that room that night. And that's one of those things that you're going to see tonight at 6:30 on KPRC.
I know, I cannot wait to watch this interview again. An exclusive interview for us here at KPRC 2. Ninfa, I know this is getting a lot of reaction on Click to Houston, on social media. What are people saying?
So I think you have a bit of a mixed reaction from our viewers. You have half of them are saying like, he's got convicted by a jury, let him do his time. And then you have the other half that's like, well, I don't believe it. It took them 3 trials to convict him. I believe this is a wrong conviction. So you have people on both sides that want to hear from AJ. You have to understand, he's never taken the stand. So this is the first time since being convicted that he's speaking. And I'll just say this, no question was left off the table and every question was answered. So you want to make sure you watch the full interview tonight on KPRC 2 Plus at 6:30 p.m.
Yeah, and I know with this conversation, you talk to him about what it's like living in prison. It's been how many months? He was convicted in August, so September, October, November. We're in December, 4 months now. This is a young man who has never had to be in confinement, and I was listening to a soundbite that we shared with our viewers during the last hour, and he talked about what it's like living in a cell for almost 23 hours every day.
24
hours,
almost a full.
Well, 24 hours, but I thought he had 1 hour free. I thought he had 1 hour. So he said, for most of the day, for 23 hours of that day, he is confined within those 4 walls.
Yeah. So he said he was very isolated, especially these last couple of months, because if you remember, he was bounced around for a little bit, and we were talking about that. He eventually got to Huntsville so that he could go through the actual processing part, but then he went around again. So it took a little bit for him to actually find a home, quote unquote, because he's in prison. There's a good chance that he could be moved again, depending on how things go. But for right now, he's up in Abilene, Texas.
North Texas.
Yes.
He's a little
just
outside of Dallas.
Exactly. Exactly.
Throughout this conversation, did he show any sort of emotion?
So I know we talked about this a little bit too. So AJ, there's a couple things about AJ, and this is one of the points that I think I took on in hearing him talk about this and kind of watching him throughout the trial. He tries to present strength, and he talks about how he tries to present strength so that his family doesn't become concerned, his wife doesn't become concerned. So he wants to show that he's a little bit of a rock when he's going into these situations. So for him, and I think you heard Rilwan talk about this also in the last hour, like for him showing those emotions, he's like, how am I supposed to show emotions? And I think it's partially because, hearing from the family is he was kind of raised to be strong. And I think, there's a lot that's kind of behind that. I'm not a psychiatrist or anything along those lines, but that's one of the things that he talks about in this interview, but he does break down.
Right,
And
I was literally going to say that.
And it's right when we talk about his sister. And I think it's one of the most pivotal parts of this interview, that if you watch the entire interview, if you don't feel some type of way during that part, then you should probably re-examine the whole case. And we have that for everybody on the evidence room center.
And that's what's been really impressive with our coverage is that this entire trial has had a multi-tiered approach when it comes to our coverage on what we've done for this trial. You talk about strength and being strong, and I reflect back to the bench, our coverage during the trial, and I remember his grandmother. His grandmother played a big role. Both of his, and so it's to no surprise when I hear you speak about this strength and how it's almost it's become a chore, a task for him to show that strength for his family.
Well, Zach, you'll remember one of his grandmothers sat every day during that entire trial.
With that pink blanket.
Then she brought the pink blanket that got controversial towards the end.
They made her remove it.
Yeah, because, just sitting there and having to listen to this stuff about your kid, and they're accusing your grandkid.
I would say that I do believe that his demeanor has been very consistent, but I do think that in this interview you will see a different side of him.
In this interview,
you will see a different side of him, because a lot of people had a lot to say about his demeanor and how he came off, especially during the trial. But I do think you will see a different side of him in this interview.
And to add on to that real quick, he's done interviews in the past. But I will say this is the first interview where he feels comfortable. We're TV people, we watch this stuff all the time. He's comfortable with Rilwan. He smiles with Rilwan. They talk like it's a normal conversation. So it's kind of, he's releasing that shield, that wall a little bit. And this is the first time he really gets to talk.
Does he talk about his son?
He does talk about his son. I mean, literally.
He talks about being a parent and how he understands kind of why he had the relationship with his parents and how that relates to the relationship he has with his son now. So it's very interesting.
Does he talk about how he's able to communicate with his son, see his son?
So he does talk about the last time he saw Kate, his wife, you know, and his family, you know, which was here in Harris County, you know. So he's seen, you know, his friend, you know, has gone out and seen him. It's a little bit of a drive. We kind of cover that entire conversation as well. I mean, literally, we talk about his family. He's got a message for his family. That's another thing we know that you can look forward to is like the message to his family specifically. He's also talking about the trial. He talks about the DNA evidence. He talks about the friend. Remember the test fire?
Yes.
That the prosecutors was like, he was test firing the gun. He talks about the friend he was with.
And he talks about his brother Josh. I think that's one of the main questions I received online, social media regarding our stories is what's going on with Josh. That will be answered tonight.
Okay. Well, we so much look forward to it. Thank you so much for all the hard work that you two have put into this this coverage. Remember, you can watch that full interview tonight on to join the conversation live. Do not miss the AJ Armstrong interview tonight at 6:30, only on KPRC 2+. We'll be right back.